here we are going to do follow-ups on Candace Owens, which I don't have a solid name for it yet, but you know, something like Candace Owens Rolodex update, where, I don't know, every 2 or 3 weeks I would just like to go through and kind of see what she has just stopped talking about, because she can't substantiate any of her claims. She never provides like receipts or proof of the claims that she makes, and it's just funny to watch it flip over into new things. And literally, if you go back and watch my either my reaction to Nux Taku or my Candace Owens drives me up a wall, I literally predicted exactly what was going to happen back, I think like the first week of December. Maybe I uploaded it on the 9th. But yeah, it's ridiculous. She will pick like 3 or 4 controversies and basically flip through them, farm them for her mommy sleuths, and then you know, once one starts kind of fizzling out a little bit and then there's something new to talk about, she'll swap that card out, put the new one in, and then just keep rotating through the Rolodex of conspiracy. So I've grabbed, oops, this is not the right window. Right here. Okay, so following up, so last time I made a video about Candace Owens. She was, it was kind of like 2 days into the Tim Pool beef that she had, and she was still claiming that Erica was being followed by Egyptian planes. She had not yet sat down with Erica Kirk. That happened a couple of days after my first video about her. And she was still claiming that she had credible information and that the FBI and Homeland Security were supposedly taking her seriously, because it was so credible that the Macrons had paid an assassin to silence her for speaking out about whatever her face, the First Lady of France being a transgender man. Yeah, so she hasn't talked about that in 3 and a half weeks or something. Or yeah, right about 3 weeks. Because she's had new stuff to talk about. Amfest happened, and that kind of sparked off a bunch of different controversies, and then the whole Fort Huachuca conspiracy theory that like every single thing has gotten smacked down and debunked, but she's just, you know, she's gonna ride that bull all night long. So here's a follow-up for the Egyptian planes. This is why she isn't talking about it anymore, and she pivoted. So they basically went through, over 21 episodes. She was repeatedly claiming that Egyptian planes would connect, you know, between U.S., Israel, TPUSA, the Macrons, Erica Kirk, and she was trying to insinuate that, you know, this connection or whatever proved that there's a conspiracy involving the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Yeah, and it turns out, big surprise, she didn't do her homework. So they found that there were 66% the locations were just wrong, and 60% of the time they were actually, you know, I mean, they have tail numbers, everything's regulated. You can go into airtracker.com and see like all of the flights that are in the world that aren't like military. You know, I mean, even private airlines have to schedule ahead, and they have to communicate with airfields and where they're leaving from, where they're landing, so that air traffic controllers can be, you know, they can be ready to direct traffic as the estimated arrivals of various planes are coming in. So, yeah, it's absolutely.
Add.
Oh yeah.
Add. Of course, I was locked in this meeting when people online were another round of debunking the Egyptian planes. I want to be very clear. We discussed the Egyptian planes, and
this is after
have since
she talked
worked
about
on
Erica.
an incredible document. about the Egyptian planes, which we are going to put up on our websites because
Yeah, put it up on our website, and here you've got flight numbers, you've got the supposed reasons, locations, and then just notes. And so some good citizen went in and highlighted and coordinated basically here. So from Owens' sheet, so taking their sheet, taking her information and actually logging, yes, it is verified that this plane flew from Cairo to Paris, Paris to Wichita on these dates. And so when you go through, it's over, basically 2/3 of them are fake. They're just absolutely incorrect. Now, I personally didn't go through and vet, like, oh, if it's not in Egypt, where was it? But this was widely accepted as, oh, okay, you got debunked. And obviously, then Candace just kind of pivoted, which I think is why she jumped. Yeah, so top comments are, that's why she's LARPing as an anti-Semite. And then here, this is so stupid. So nothing has been debunked. Stop the goy slop. I think a lot of you forget many of us work in that realm. None of what Candace is saying is debunked, and you all act like you don't have veterans and people who work in this realm. Everything she's saying is true. So this is like the brain captured cult member, I guess, is probably the most apt term. And yeah, she is backed up Candace's claim, saying it's factually correct. The lies coming out of these two are very disturbing. I don't know how deep he went in on this, but anyway, so she pivoted away from this and she started going into kind of this weird rabbit hole. This actually was before, but this was debunked earlier. So the 19th, she was kind of gearing up for, and she went on a tear. This is clearly just criticism of Israel, and that's where the conflation of the terms Israel, Jew, Jewry, as Nick Fuentes says, and Zion or Zionist, right? Where just I feel like a lot of the time it's just people who don't understand the distinguishments between those terms, which they're important to understand, but people just read it, think it means something, and they throw it out there. That's not Candace. So it's alarming when she specifically calls out Jews and not add any qualifiers to that, or add something to kind of limit the scope of who she means.
This one is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on.
Oh, yeah. So this was, I believe this was in response to Ben Shapiro going on to Megyn Kelly and challenging her for not speaking out against Candace Owens when Candace was making insinuations to Twitter and on her podcast that Erica was involved in killing Charlie Kirk, or there was a cover-up and the people of TPUSA were in on it. And again, like I said in my previous video, she's usually very careful about insinuations but not a direct claim, so that she can always say, well, no, I never said that. And then you go back and you go, no, but she heavily insinuated for 3 minutes that she came just short of directly saying what she was trying to allude to. So yeah, this was her kind of response. She got really PO'd at Ben Shapiro, which then only got worse after AmFest, because, I don't know, people are melting down, and the question of pro-Israel or not, it's not even anti-Israel for a lot of people. I think it's just pro-Israel or not pro-Israel, which, you could kind of coin as America first, right? That's kind of the big argument among the right now.
And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin.
Oh, and she
and Andrew Christ
wants him to kill himself.
and all of the people, the men who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you.
She's a great Christian.
You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew, and I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals. That they have a right to own us,
sure
that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us.
I mean, technically everybody has the right. I mean, if you have freedom of speech and freedom of expression, everybody has the right to deceive anybody. You know, whether that's mandated or not, that is a different question. You know, that's where the I forget what it's called. It's not kafah, it's not but that's kind of been in the right-wing YouTube sphere. Sorry, man, I don't know what's going on. Is the principle in the Quran or adjacent texts. I don't know if it's I couldn't tell you what it is exactly, but it basically dictates to the followers of the faith that they are permitted and even encouraged to lie in order to further spread their goals, which is, you know, admittedly, they say their goal is to convert the world, right? And lately that's been, lately as in the last 50 to 75 years, that's been talked about and kind of divided into ballot or bullet has been a pretty popular term lately. So it's either through a holy war, through jihad, which, you know, we all can probably imagine 100 examples of that occurring over the world or across the world. And then there is the concept of what right-wing people fear is, or see what's happening in Europe and fear what could happen in America, which is the importation of people who are, you know, majority Muslim, and then they begin to integrate into society, but then begin to take over certain posts. Like there are certain, I guess you'd call them villages in England and Wales, where when you look, every single person involved in, like, from the police chief to the mayor to everybody is you know, large Pakistani population. So they're Pakistani Muslim or they are African Muslim, and, you know, the idea there is that they see, and it is and isn't nefarious, if that makes sense, where they believe that they're mandated to do what they're doing. So from their perspective, right, they're doing a just thing, which is conversion through the ballot, right? We are going to take political power so that we can instill our values and our laws, and we're going to, you know, outproduce or reproduce people so that by the time we're the majority population, if enough people haven't converted of their own volition, then we can just, you know, take over and we can be the majority. So every ideology has, you know, things like that. Like obviously the Christianity had that with, you know, the holy war between Protestantism and Catholicism in the Holy Roman Empire. You had the Crusades. You had the Livonian Order and the Teutonic Order that basically went into modern day, like Poland and like Lithuania, like those areas, and they went through and their goal was to spread Christianity by killing the pagans and by killing pagans who wouldn't convert to Christianity, right? So I mean, there's 1,000 examples of this, even just in the last couple hundred years. We don't even have to go back to, you know, 1200, 1300 AD. So in the Talmud, maybe I need to read into that more, but if it just says that it's permissible, that's one thing, but having a mandate is different, because technically the First Amendment gives us the right to lie, and it gives us the right to deceive other people. So that's a nothing burger.
That they have a right to treat Charlie the way that he treated Charlie while he was alive, only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working at Turning Point USA. Goodbye, Ben. Goodbye. Question is, how much more money is Ben Shapiro going to spend to make people think that he's popular? How many more articles is his father going to write under a pen name, Hank Berrien of the Daily Wire, under the pen name Hank Berrien, as he wrote while Ben was at Breitbart, before he turned his back and betrayed them too, because that is his nature. One of these belly creatures, sliver on. Question is,
Jesus.
How many more weeks and years do we have to keep pretending like Ben Shapiro is relevant?
So I think it's interesting that Candace is not even, she's immediately resorting to like ad hominem, where she is trying to use his faith and belief in the Talmud to discredit him, and then attacking him directly, and trying to insinuate that his dad ghostwrites for him, that he's not popular. And in fairness, he has had a downward trend, right? I remember he was viral back in like 2015, 16, 17, right? When he was going to campuses and he was, quote unquote, owning the libs. And he was just very direct, very fast speaking, very intelligent. And it drew a lot of attention to him. He blew up, he got involved in all this. But Candace isn't attacking what he said, or she's not trying to challenge the argument or challenge his claims that she is purposefully obfuscating the truth and twisting things and creating these conspiracies in order to benefit monetarily off of Charlie Kirk's death, which I personally believe she's doing 100%. So again, yeah, she is resorting to ad hominem because she doesn't argument. She doesn't have arguments. She doesn't tackle things logically. I mean, I could probably pull up 50 million examples of this, but
Open-ended question.
Yeah, we'll see if she actually says anything in the last
Ben
minute.
Shapiro on stage, somebody who Charlie Kirk loved very much, and who he fought for to the very end against the Jewish donors who were pressuring him, some of them because Ben Shapiro insisted that they do. That is Charlie Kirk's true legacy, and that is Charlie Kirk's true friend, just as I was and am and will continue to fight and ask questions about who killed Charlie Kirk. And to people that are at home, I implore you to wake up to these people who believe that they are contract lords. I challenge Black Americans.
What does that mean?
To wake up to your true history, because your quarrel is not with white men, okay? Wake up to who publishes these books and keeps us warring with one another. Christians versus Christians, right? Christians versus Muslims. Wake up and learn the true history of slavery, because that wasn't exactly a white men sport, okay?
That's so dumb.
Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade.
I have
buried a lot of it, but it's there. And they
buried a lot of it. Okay.
I think all of us need to wake up to this, because it's making me absolutely sick that he is so bold that he dare sit near Charlie Kirk's chair, that he dare grace that stage when Charlie Kirk knew exactly what Ben Shapiro was and will always be. So again, on your
subtext there, a quote unquote dirty, warmongering, lying Jew, right? Like, is that, I think that's the correct takeaway to make right there.
Belly, Ben Shapiro.
Of what she's saying. So yeah, she doesn't do anything in terms of actually challenging what he said. She just attacked him and said, I knew Charlie better than you, so I can stand on his grave and further use him as the platform to attack other people. that's my takeaway, at least. I'm definitely going in here not liking her to begin with, so bias exists, I guess. Be arrested for hate speech. No, she shouldn't. Race hustlers. Oh, Catarleson police. Yeah, there are lots of slaves, 0 black people buying this shit. An Egyptian plane flew over my house, released Mossad pigeons in maroon t-shirts just as I was eating French toast. Trust me, bro. She's insane. Yeah, I have become more and more convinced.
I am done.
And I kind of want to do almost like a clinical breakdown to try to see what characteristics she's exhibiting that are derived from like schizophrenia. Because we just saw that with Kanye West, where he kind of went off. Well, I mean, he's always been eccentric. He's always had like his ups and downs. And I think most people could have guessed, oh, he's probably bipolar. He has something going on. But then he kind of went way too far with the whole Hitler, the Jews. It was a Jewish doctor, like that whole deal, right? And I believe now, like, he got diagnosed with like mild to moderate like schizophrenia or a different stage of like bipolar, and he's taking medication, and he apologized to the rabbi, mended the wound. Like, it seems like he's on the up and up is what I mean. So, you know, when you think like she is seeing patterns that aren't there, she is seeing conspiracies. Everything's a conspiracy. Everybody's conspiring against her, which we'll see. I mean, I'll even quote her later. Yeah, I can't believe a word that comes out of her mouth. Here's more of the Jewish stuff. So about the same day, she just kind of went on a Mitch Snow. This guy's been debunked as well. He's a serial abuser, con artist. There it is. No longer Israel, it's Jewish people now. Got it. So this is what I was talking about in the beginning, is that it's like a mask off moment where she's no longer trying to paint, you know, like Hassan Piker does this too, where he talks about, oh, I am anti-Israel, I am anti-Zionist, which that can mean anybody who supports Israel, but he won't come out and directly say stuff about the Jews, but it's so implied in the context that he speaks and just what he purports to believe in, that it's like, yeah, we know what you mean, but you're not saying what you mean. But it's that little anti-Semitic dog whistle, you know, like that's a mask off moment. So yeah, survivors from the USS Liberty, this is so dumb. It was so long ago. They testified that American flags were flying. Survivors. So my question is, what kind of plane did that? Was it a old prop plane where you could actually see things, or did they do a flyover in a jet going, you know, Mach 2? Because that at some point it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know enough about this to actually make that claim or try to argue about it. I don't care. I mean, I care, but for the purposes of this video, I don't. Because Jewish media, people in media sue them if you interview them. So again, we're back to Jewish. It's not about Israel. This one was a doozy. So she's using an old, debunked, cultish, like anti-Semitic book to basically try to explain, yep, sugar industry was monopolized by the Jews. Fat cotton plantations in many parts of the South were wholly owned in the hands of Jews. And she used this to, take a jab at Ben, obviously. And then immediately, you know, and there's no redactions. She never makes a redaction because she found evidence that's going to back her claim, quote unquote evidence. So no matter what is presented to her, she's going to cling to this. Immediately asking Grok, 1860 census, 1.25%. 1.25%. So that's it right there. Jews were 1.25% of the slaveholders. They were not behind slavery. They were not pulling the puppet strings. It is. Yeah, cherry picks a 1906 encyclopedia to imply Jewish dominance in slavery, but historians agree that they play a minimal role. I could go back to the 1550s and find manuscripts of, like something that the Eastern Orthodox Church wrote, and then use that to discredit all of Catholicism, right? And all of Protestantism, because it stems off of Catholicism, right? Like, I could do that, and then people go, oh, actually this, and I go, no, but I found this manuscript in 1550 that says what I want it to say, so I'm just gonna choose to believe that, and everything else is a conspiracy, because the Jews burned all the books and did everything to hide the truth and bury the truth, right? So yeah, she's shooting herself in the own foot, I think, because she's gone too far with the mask off. This has been another thing too, is following the sit down with Erica Kirk. People are, a lot of people started bailing on her and said that she got the call because she changed her tune. We don't know why. I don't believe. I don't, like, it wasn't a televised meeting. It wasn't, and that just goes to show that Erica said something, and the reason that Candace was ducking the streamed interview or the streamed sit down that she claimed that she was down for, whenever you name the time, obviously she backed out of that. So yeah, she's been getting trashed pretty bad. It's been accelerating over the last 2 weeks as well. Alex Jones came out and challenged a lot of her claims as well, particularly about the Fort Huachuca deal, and then immediately they just say, oh, it was Laura Loomer, it's Jewish propaganda. So again, it's that idea of just trying to discredit the person instead of going after the actual argument or the claim that they made. This example happens a lot too, where a version of that I feel has come into vogue in the past like 2 or 3 years, maybe like the last 4 or 5, has been the paid actor vogue. So to insinuate that Alex Jones sold out, so he was getting paid, he's a paid actor by Jewish interests to join in on the crusade against Candace. It's Jewish propaganda, and it's because Laura Loomer said that she was responsible for him seeing the light. So instead of tackling anything that Laura Loomer has said and anything that Alex Jones has said, you just call her a dirty Jew, and you call Alex Jones a sellout, a bought man, a foreign agent that has been bought and sold. Yeah, and then you don't have to challenge, right? Yeah, you don't have to challenge anything that they said. Oh, here. Oh, I got a lot of likes on that one. How about you actually examine and refute his arguments and evidence? Oh, because you can't, and you think labeling anything contrary to your worldview, I meant to say as a Jewish conspiracy, is a valid form of argumentation. So Alex Jones also says not true. All 3 of them are paid actors. Come on now. That's probably closer to the truth. Everybody... Erica Wolf Jones, banned most sites. He's not who he says he is. So it's just this conspiracy. It's just peddling conspiracy. That's fucking funny. I didn't see that before. Candace Owens lies again. She changed her story. I think... Oh, I meant to do this later. I don't think this is much of a controversy. They're claiming that she's told like 3 different stories about... when she met her husband, how they met, all of that, whether it was John Mappin, whether it was Uncle Russell Brand, insinuating that he's a foreign agent because I believe he's British or English. Yeah, English, which is British, but MI5 or MI6 connections, like all that crap. So I believe... Oh, Scientologist, yeah. So I believe John Mappin is high up in the Church of Scientology, which that would actually make a lot of sense because they're just as crazy as she is. They're saying that and it's like, I don't care. I care about the relationship, but who cares if it is or isn't a lizard person. Nice. She goes with ever. This is the person who said Megyn Kelly was brilliant. Oh, I meant to do a different one first. Yeah, that was supposed to be later, but we'll get back to that. one day, no matter how hard they try to make radical Islam, the base doesn't care about it. We are way more concerned about Israel. You can't deny in reality scream about that. And she got ratioed on this as well, in the comments at least, just with the people being like, oh, so you speak for the base now? Like, since when did that happen? Which I don't care. I don't consider myself part of the GOP base or the MAGA base. I'm trying to sky the billion ISIS is coming digital campaign wherein blah 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 radical Islam. Our concerns about the Middle East begin with the Israeli. So it's pivoting. She went back to Israeli instead of saying Jew, so that's nice. But in her head, Israel, Zionist, Israeli, that's all the same term as calling somebody a Jew or a Jewish actor or the Jewish state or whatever. And then here's her back in 2019 where it's, oh, we're based on Judeo-Christian values. The left mocks Christians, defends anti-Semitism, yet we all demand. And I'm not saying you can never change your mind. Obviously, if you're not learning, you're not growing, in my opinion. But she's definitely pivoted hard, like in the last 3-4 years. Keep grifting, she'll get paid. Ideology is a subscription. Say the quiet part out loud. This, I actually agree. I think that this was weird. Yeah, short of sadistic. It felt like a seance. So what they're talking about here is at AmFest, they had a Charlie Kirk, like, memorial tent put up. And, like, I understand what they were trying to do. And I don't know. I think that this is, the way that it was done, I think, is inappropriate. I think it was inappropriate. I think having, like, pictures and a memorial and that sort of thing would have been more tasteful. But I don't know, there's just something about recreating the tent that I can't put my finger on it exactly, but it does bother me for whatever reason. You know, and I don't think it was nefarious. I don't think they're trying to shill or anything like that. I think it's just somebody had the idea, somebody else went, yeah, let's do that, that's great, you know, the tent. And then it's like, I don't know, something about it just, it rankles me in a bad way. At AmFest again, every time Ben speaks, I feel more that Israel is involved in September 10th, which is Charlie's murder. He's just way too invested in Charlie's murder, which is really rich coming from her. He never liked Charlie, and now, I mean, he said that he's respected Charlie before. He only cares about Israel's interests, so Israel is involved. I mean, that's conjecture, maybe. I don't know. I've never heard him say that, so I don't know how far I should believe that. It's beyond obvious that Ben is tremendously fearful about something related to this assassination. Maybe that's because he stuttered during the speech, but I think it was because he was flustered and emotional and angry, because he was basically calling out, you know, Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens. Same on stage with Megyn when he demanded her allegiance. He's just extremely nervous about something, and it sure as hell isn't Charlie Kirk's legacy. This tweet will age well. So I think he's nervous because he knew he was going to say something controversial, and that, like, her hardcore fans and Megyn Kelly's hardcore fans, we're gonna come lash out at him. And I mean, there's been plenty of people, like, even, you know, big names on the right that have come out denouncing kind of what he said. And again, I don't know if it's just because of how he said it, but how I understood what Ben said at AmFest, like, what he said was that if you have a platform, you should have a moral obligation, or he claimed you do have a moral obligation to speak out against bullshit, especially when it's in your camp. You know, and somebody shared a clip of him like 5 years ago or something like that, where he basically said, you know, one of your most important duties as a community and a community leader is to police your own extremists. So I think that's been a very constant through line with him. And I do agree. Like, I think that, you know, you should police your own extremists. because otherwise you're going to get audience captured, and you lose your identity and you lose your own impetus to act and to challenge things when you see them, and if you disagree with them. So, and if you're a supporter of Candace, like, you could make the argument that I just made, just in the inverse, which is that, she stayed true to herself and that Ben is selling out to Israel, right? So I understand that you can twist the logic based on which camp you find yourself in. But I think that Candace has destroyed her credibility, especially in the last 3 weeks. And I think she's had some mask-off moments, and I don't know how people are going to continue supporting her. So here again, he seeks to humiliate Megyn Kelly publicly over a political disagreement. He brought up her not mentioning anything on her show, and then she said, wait, no, what did she say? And he said, Candace was alluding to or insinuating that Erica played a direct role in Charlie's murder. And then Megyn was like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that. Like, I'll have to look and I'll have to do. And then she released a video afterward. Maybe she's the one who got the call, and she, cussed out Ben. She was upset. So it seems like kind of the formation happening is like Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and Candace Owens are kind of on that side. And I don't know, like you'd say probably Ben Shapiro and Tim Pool. I think Tim Pool hasn't really attacked Ben. Maybe he has. So Midget Horse, this is honestly objectively funny. Always promises receipts, never provides them, whatever. So again, instead of challenging anything that he said, she's just challenging, she's throwing dirt on his supposed, and maybe it is, but provide evidence. Get him to say it or admit to it. Don't just say it, because it makes you look like you don't understand argumentation. So people started jumping ship. Even if you are at all involved whatsoever in like kind of looking at Candace Owens, you'll know who Morgan Ariel is. She is a fucking weirdo as well. But she backed out, where she's saying, I love and support Candace Owens. I have enormous respect for her. She can't get behind the whistleblower. So Mitchell Snow. The Holy Spirit isn't giving me the green light concerning him. In fact, it's the opposite. So, but she gets, jeez, Candace. That's a Eminem reference, I believe. She gained 11 million followers this year, and that's all from peddling conspiracy and bullshit, and she hasn't substantiated a single thing that I've seen. Providing alibis, live stream. It's kind of like this whole Mitch Snow thing. I need to look into it a little bit more, but it seems like he has a history of con jobs and lying to get attention and doing different things. So yeah, they have to say that they're not paid, because that's immediately what everybody's saying is, oh, you sold out, you're a paid actor. That's the new ad hominem. It's just, oh, we're just going to discredit you by saying you're a paid actor with no evidence whatsoever. So I'll say this one final thing. I'm moving on. Nobody has paid me to post about Mitch. I made one post expressing my concerns about him. My current stance on Mitch has absolutely nothing to do with my support towards Candace Owens, which is obvious in her previous. The mob lynching I have gotten in response for simply daring to step out of line with the group consensus is really disturbing and downright demonic. He got the call, $7,000. Yeah, she's fucking crazy. I disagree with that same person. She got the call, $7,000. How dare you say I'm paid to disagree? It's the same thing, right? If we peddle this weak form of argumentation, we're going to become victims of it later. That's why it's called C Antifa. Oh, the Candace Antifa. Okay, cut followers. There's even creepier stuff going on with Evan Gore, whatever his name is. I even challenged this right away, where Candace Owens, I was on the fence before this whole theory of hers. Now I'm all in. It seems legit. This is sarcasm, because you can tell that this is a typing, like, this is edited, like, in some sort of word processor, right? And this is all typed out. There were questions about the timing, but I thought, when I looked at like the timings of things, I thought it was accurate. I don't know. Mr. Michael Snow, not Mitchell Snow, right? So there's already a weird thing. The driver's license, which I believe was proven to be wrong, suspicious package, all of that. But this was supposedly given to her by the JFK in the Mountains, said replaced in the thing. It was supposedly given to her by like the staff sergeant or whatever, like at Fort Huachuca, and immediately just looking at it, it does look like it's the correct font size, which would be for Army and Army, Marine, and Navy, I believe. The standard nowadays would be either Arab, Calibri or Arial, 12-point font, single spaced, so that's correct. But this is Times New Roman. So that was the first thing that stood out to me. Was that the text is not correct. It just says executive summary. We don't have the whole document, or if it's in an email, or if this is a PDF, which it's not, because right there. So this is very dubious. It got challenged many times, and I'm convinced that it's 100% fake. This guy went in. So again, I don't like this as well, where he's making ad hominem. And part of it, I think, is that it's hard to disprove something that doesn't exist. Where Mitchell Snow didn't see what he saw, he didn't see what he said went on. And so it's like, how on earth do you disprove that? And that's why I think it's important to remember that if you make the claim, the burden of proof is on you. It's not, I'm going to make a claim and I'm going to substantiate it with supposed eyewitness testimony, which, like, legally speaking, eyewitness testimony is rarely results in conviction during a trial, because it is so untrustworthy. And there's been numerous studies done to show that the vast majority of people change and alter their story within even just a few minutes of an event occurring. So she is making a claim, she's substantiating it with one witness that is not verified or double checked in any way, shape, or form. As far as we know, maybe she has those receipts and she just doesn't give them out. But when a claim is made like that, it's her job and it's his job to produce the evidence. It's not, because I've seen her say, or other followers say, well, you can't disprove what she said. That's ridiculous. It is not the duty of people who challenge a claim to come up with every single example that it could be proven wrong with to discredit it. It is your job as the claim maker to provide verifiable evidence of your claim. Otherwise, it's not even worth talking about. And if Candace wasn't as big as she was, it never would even be a thing. But she has these brain-captured, brain-rotted people following her, and it honestly feels like a cult. So they basically character assassinate Mitchell Snow, hasn't paid child support for 3 children, multiple domestic violence, like over 4 counts or something like that, fabricated the story. Candace did a GoFundMe, whatever, or Give, Send, Go. 3 ex-wives, 3 estranged children, court records, military files, which he released later. Candace's latest round of reckless, unhinged slander, which you didn't do because you're speaking the truth, but again, you can't tackle you can't tackle evidence that they don't put forward. So it's really dumb. Reposting new information. She was never fully committed. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure you were. Emotional breakdown, estranged sons, Alex, solid information. Brian Harpole, who was the head of security for Charlie. She claims that Erica Kirk and Brian Harpole were at Fort Huachuca meeting with feds to plan the assassination that happened the next day. That's basically what she says. Mitch felt very certain that he saw Brian Harpole exiting the top brass meeting around 7:30. she submitted irrelevant metadata. Like, Mitch was very certain he saw her on the 8th at a hotel on the base. This sighting was not at the top brass meeting on the 9th. So it could be unrelated, but it could. So look, everything is Mitch felt. And there's a history of this guy being a con artist and, getting outed for lies. I believe he had issues with stolen valor, making claims that he did things that he didn't do while he was in service. At least that was my interpretation of what I saw. Shared a relevant link on 9/9, missed 2 roll calls, didn't vote. And then her just saying this appearance would make it impossible to attend the meeting. Like, well, how do we don't know if he attended the meeting over Zoom. Like, none of it's substantive. Like, you can't, none of it's solid. Now if there were CCTV snapshots, if there was an overhead satellite where it's like, oh, we know that to be the vehicle of Erica Kirk from the rental agency and it's parked in the fort, right? That would be different. But it's literally just what this dude says that he thought. And then it's her saying, well, how could he have done this if he did this? And it's important to ask questions. But there's a difference between asking questions and prying and, kind of working around the edges of the official narrative versus just coming out with blatantly unsubstantiated claims. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably what pisses me off the most. Oh, here, he literally voted on roll call, so that's in there. 12:01 Arizona, Tucson, 45 hours, the meeting. So it's like, yeah, he could have gotten there. There's BB. This is fucked up. I mean, it's funny, but it's fucked up. Rough times keep going. Sodomy's a strange dude. See, so even people are starting to go, I don't know about this. So here, this was weird. So he says, he's a big proponent of supporter of Candace. He says, I want to get on here and say something. I know it'll open myself up to hate. It's okay. I can no longer support the claim. I think I have it over here. Wait. He basically said that he can't support the claim because he doesn't trust the... Yeah, I know she says a lot of crazy shit. Because he can no longer take Mitchell Snow seriously. Like, he doesn't believe him to be a credible witness. So yeah, he's super loyal. He's a known entity, and she literally, this is so weird. This is like a mom talking to her teenager kind of thing. So she says, out of curiosity, why were you coordinating your ex posts yesterday via text with other influencers? So she's, again, right here immediately, you're trying to insinuate that he's either betraying her to clout chase with other influencers or that he's sold out and is a paid actor, right? Immediately does that, and then here we go. Yeah, alibis were debunked. We already know that. Oh, so I don't know why I lost it, but he said, like, hey, I'm in oh, cool. Candace supporter. Since you're all delusional, I'm gonna end with that one, at least for this little segment. This thing's the how her wife knew. Man, I must have accidentally clicked off of the thing, but he basically said, hey, I'm on vacation. I didn't see this. I haven't been able to comment or see posts, but I'm at the cabin now and I have Wi-Fi. And he even offered to go in and he even said, like, no, if you're talking about me and Morgan, who I guess he's best friends with or whatever, he's like, I'll show you like all my texts. I'll do like a screen capture deal. And then she's like, she takes him up on it, and she's like, oh, make sure that it's timestamped, make sure that it's this. And it was just this bizarre fucking, yeah, it's like a lunatic. I really want to find that. See, these aren't links to the, damn, I should just here, I'm just gonna do it here, Evan Kilgore, because it's gonna be on 1L. I want to see his posts, right? How do I do that? Posts. Jesus Christ died. Oh, it's pinned. Okay. Let's go back down. Because, yeah, they went back and forth like nuts. Oh, and so he said, like, what are you talking about? I wasn't really talking to anybody. Cinema Shogun has been on top of this. Like, he's been doing God's work out there. So she says, I was referring to you texting Morgan Ariel about what you were going to post yesterday, but she confirmed to me that you guys are, geez, that's huge, are best friends, and that's the reason you tell her what you're going to do post ahead of time. So it sounds like he probably just texted her saying like, hey, like, I know we've been in support of her through this whole thing, but I'm having my doubts, and I'm going to say that because I can no longer continue to support the narrative. That's, oh, jeez. Okay, should have listened to Nick Fuentes. I'm on vacation with my family. I'm in the mountains, terrible service. I apologize for the day I have a life. I will not be on my phone much. I'm down for the phone call. You can DM me. I'm not hiding anything about my views on Mitch. I've been honest, skepticism, conversation with Morgan. So he literally gives up his conversation with Morgan. Since I'm on vacation, can't catch up. Clips of an interview with his son. Ask one of your insiders at TPUSA to verify my sincerity and how they feel about me. Please go ahead. So it's like, it's literally like getting taken to the woodshed. Like, this is bizarre behavior. Like, he's so scared of speaking out that it's like, oh yeah, here's my metadata. Here's a screen capture. Here's everything. It's not an attack on you. I'm getting nothing but vile accusations. Grand conspiracy here is that Morgan and I are friends with similar views and discussing your thoughts. So immediately she saw, again, it's the schizophrenic behavior. She sees conspiracy, and she has people tattling, and she has her little informers to see who's not being loyal to her and who is and why. Like, it's so bizarre. Where are you at? Don't delete anything. Just screen record the entire chat so I can read real quick. Timestamps included, please. You the best. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So that has been kind of the biggest thing, is basically her top supporters kind of backing down from her side. And yeah, I would agree that it's psychotic. So he's like, I'm not trying to play games. I'm not involved in a grand conspiracy. And she just goes off. You aren't playing a game or having your vacation interrupted. Yeah, he is. If he's on vacation in Tennessee in the mountains and he said, hey, let's talk when I'm back, or we could do a quick DM or a quick phone call. So you yourself made a conscious decision to publicly post while on your vacation. Well, it sounds like it was before he left or when he still had cell service, and then was out of cell service for a while. What reads like a diary entry into regarding why you don't believe Mitch Snow, which failed to address or debunk anything that he actually said. Which it's because it's conjecture. It's what he said. There's no evidence to debunk. You also consciously chose to repeat the lie that alibis were presented, which debunked his claims, which they were. What happened next is that got flack while you were on vacation because you posted something dishonest while you were on vacation. You're not smarter than your audience. Again, the lack of self-awareness from her on this is just crazy. None of us are. Did you make any effort to reach out to Mitch about the court case with the cartel? I surely shared one of them with your best friend yesterday in private, yet neither of you acknowledged it. So maybe they didn't find it credible, right? But so she's going in on this conspiracy that Morgan and Evan are betraying her because they stepped out of line. They didn't agree with her 100%, so now they're traitors. Signifying that you've been persuaded by the fact that he had been a bad father and husband, as if I had been encouraging my audience to date him or adopt him as a father. Now that's fair. If it was purely because he was a bad father and a bad husband, it's the ad hominems, right? And just trying to discredit somebody doesn't discredit what they're saying. You have to discredit what they're saying. And that's why mudslinging works, is because it's emotional and it acts counter to logic, and it makes people ignore evidence refutation. you were over the top and theatrical in your announcement, which again, self-awareness much, please. You're playing audiences for stupid by telling them the story has been debunked because he has exes who hate him. That's not what he said. Like, so now she's just making shit up, right? Now it's suddenly, I'm in the mountains and I'm on a much needed vacation, and why can't we DM? Honestly, it's because he's probably trying to spare you this. It's just nuts. She's full-blown lunatic. I agree. If Erica Kirk doesn't provide an airtight alibi with the exact metadata of where she was on September 8th, I'm going to assume a pathological, lying, fat-ass, retarded witness is right. Her husband was brutally murdered. She doesn't owe anyone making up ridiculous claims, jack shit. So here he's completely turned. Supported under Charlie's shirt. I don't think that's true at all. I don't know. This is just, it's the conspiracy. It's crazy. It's so stupid. Yeah, but like, again, it's Candace's job to provide evidence, right? It's Candace's job to provide evidence that would justify Erica having to defend herself by giving her metadata. Otherwise, it's a witch hunt, and anybody can witch hunt anybody at any point. So here she is, and again, this goes back into the schizophrenic thing. She sees conspiracy. France, Israel, Australia, Daily Wire, PragerU, Turning Point USA, Alex Jones, Christian influencers, mainstream media, APAC, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Big Pharma, Hollywood versus me. And, you know, if you're beefing with this many people and you have issues with this many people, what's the common denominator? And then you get people who are captured, you get people who are just born, Lockheed Martin, all trying to figure out how they're combined. Yeah, it's just, no, it's the 7 billion. This is a good one. Yeah, it's just, I do want to do an actual psychological breakdown and compare her actions and how she behaves to symptoms of schizophrenia. Here she is again speaking about the base. I already did that one. Only you and libtards in the street care about the Jews. You know, pink-haired nose ring chicks. I don't think that's true. Or quote, well, I do if you are using Jews as Jews. If you're using Jews as pro-Israel or at least anti-pro-Israel, so America first, I think that it matters to a lot of people. And then she just says, oh yeah, that must be why BP wants TikTok purchased and used as a weapon on the youth, which I don't know if that's true. Yeah, are there any sites? Fight weapons that only play on battlefields that are on social media. He called the most important purchase going on right now. But that's just true. That's just true. Like, yeah, social media can be weaponized. And he's saying that the US's acquisition of TikTok is the most important purchase going on right now because it's like one of the largest social media platforms in the world. This isn't him saying he wants to buy TikTok so that he can turn it into a recruiting ground for the young to pull people over to pro-Israel. If you're a psycho, I could see how you could draw that conclusion from this, but that's not what he said. Oh yeah, here's where he is. God bless, looking forward to I'm not playing this game. Evan, you aren't playing a game. So this is the one that we kind of missed. Laughed my fucking ass off. It's like, yeah, she got wrecked by time zones again. Pay close attention. This is what happens. Yes, so he's saying that he's being attacked more than he's ever been attacked in his lives, and it's because of Candace's base going after him for, again, stepping out of line. And yeah, he's complicit. He built this. It's the same thing with Hassan, right? Where Hassan gets upset at his community for acting and virtue signaling and doing things and being performative in certain ways because he bred that community. And then when he doesn't live up to his own community's standards and doesn't pass whatever purity test, he gets people in chat that are trolling him and calling him a hypocrite, and then he melts down and we get to make more content about him. This whole thing, I don't care, again. So I don't care how she met her husband. The current relationship, I think, matters. Where he asked, she replied, and she ignored, obfuscated, but it's like, I don't care that she kind of word saladed that. So, aren't you getting married? Yeah, gay. He's not beating the gay allegations. Yeah, he asked the same question, what was it? And she did just answer. They are our friends. And then obviously she throws shade, which I think this is pretty funny. George and I are a married couple, and John and Arena are our friends. Why are you so focused on the men in particular? It's weird. Well, the reason why is because, John is, high up in Scientology. That's why. And so knowing whether the association is just friends or it's close, if it's working, if it's whatever. Married couples don't usually fly to London to shoot pheasant with their Sentai millionaire friend. I've never heard that. I like that, centimillionaire, because it's not just I'm a millionaire, I have $6 million, versus hundreds of millions of dollars. I like that. Who is a militant Scientologist and custodian to the crown jewels of the British royal family. Usually they go to local restaurants together. That's a good point. But I don't care, because I think that she is such a bad faith actor that it doesn't even matter. Here, Charlie wasn't on the news on the 9th. Here's Charlie on the news on the 9th. This got vetted. And this is, again, just trying to build, I don't know. It's like smoke screens. It's bullshit. The clip was posted on the 9th. That's why I said clip. He didn't do 4 minutes and 12. Well, the clip was posted, but when was it recorded? So it was aired. And what is it, Fox and Friends? Yeah, so it makes sense. Oh, that's why they were like, oh, she got defeated by time zones again. I'm pretty sure. I haven't watched this video, but I'm very interested to see how much is in common with what I've said in my previous videos and in this one.
How come we haven't seen anything about his burial? We saw so much and then we saw nothing. And the reason that's like a big hush-hush secret is because Charlie had a Catholic funeral mass.
I saw the
and
rewrite.
He is buried in a Catholic cemetery.
But pre the meeting with Erica, you repeatedly questioned why we weren't being told where Charlie Kirk is buried, or even if he has been buried yet. Did you get those answers?
You have the wrong commentator who questioned that. I think that was Milo Yiannopoulos.
You've never asked where Charlie's buried?
Nope.
Yeah, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk, yes.
It's just, I don't even know how to respond to it because it just never happened. Realizing that nothing in Charlie's life was real. It's just something that keeps me up at night. Just nothing in his life was real. The assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king to install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of. It's so crazy.
She has accused us of lying about Charlie wanting Erica to take over for him if he died.
Never happened.
And that was actually Charlie's will. Like, I believe that was his stated desire, is that if something were to happen to him, that she would take over in his place.
And it just so happened that Charlie Kirk kept notebooks and diaries. He was so diligent that he wrote down his succession plan featuring who he wanted to take over for the organization in the event of his untimely death. Like, he just, in the third notebook, he was like, oh, and if I accidentally get shot on campus, here's what you should do. Call Erica, and then after you call Erica, come find this notebook. And if during this process of our imagination, common sense comes on and we're like, oh, but wait, Charlie, wasn't he like a boy genius? He's a pretty bright kid. Wouldn't he have maybe formalize that succession plan outside of like a diary. But no, he wanted to put it in these notebooks. And then the plan was to guilt us, I think, to try to haunt us with the ghost of Charlie's notebooks that we're never going to be allowed to read, but we're supposed to accept that they most definitely read. Like, for sure. Never happened. I knew it was big. I didn't have the players. I certainly didn't suspect Turning Point USA would be, as I believe, involved in a cover-up. And we can talk about what the motives are of that. They could be financial motives. It doesn't necessarily mean they were involved in plotting to kill him. And I've never said that. Cam Higbee is on the payroll of Turning Point USA beginning in August of this year. So in theory, Cam Higbee, who was laughing off the idea of an assassination attempt, is being paid by the very organization that just had its leader assassinated in broad daylight in front of the entire world. It doesn't necessarily mean they were involved in plotting to kill him.
Now, that's where, she comes right up to the line of an accusation or a definitive statement. Right? There's heavy implications behind what she's saying in a lot of these clips, but it's not directly coming out and saying. And that gives her room to backpedal. Where, like that Piers Morgan clip that I think was the first one, in that same interview, she got challenged on something. Well, maybe that one's coming up. But no, I never said that. No, I didn't do that. And then it was... Piers had receipts and pulled up her own tweet or like her own clip, and it was like, oh no, well and it's semantics, right? She tries to hide behind semantics in order to or not even hide behind, she uses it as this little escape hatch to duck accountability and claim that she's not saying things that she is saying, but not directly. You know what I mean? Like the difference between actively coming out and saying we should, genocide this group versus a dog whistle, right? That's become a popular term lately. So a dog whistle versus like direct call to action. It's like, we know what you're saying, but you're giving yourself just enough leash to be able to back off and not get in trouble.
And I've never said that. I was in this aggrieved stage, and I really didn't poke my head up until weeks later when I could stop crying about it every second. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. First, this is fantastic that Preborn is doing this. To remind you guys about Pure Talk. Also reminding you guys about American Financing. Also reminding you guys about GNO Land. Also telling you guys about Just Thrive. You can head over to our website, CandaceOwens.com. You can sign up, buy yourself a hat. I'm not going to stop unless Erica Kirk asks me to stop.
We were told that if we said stop, they would stop. And we said stop. And I'll say it again. Please stop.
Please stop. Please stop lying. But as soon as she tells me what it is I've lied about, I will cease lying immediately.
Yeah, hold your breath. That's definitely going to happen. Yeah, that was a great...
What about his burial?
Great thing to go out on. And I mean, there are dozens more examples, even just in the last 3 months, or almost 4 months now, since Charlie was killed. And I mean, before that too. Oh, this one. This is the...
Turning Point were complicit in his murder.
Obviously for...
So, I mean, we even just saw one of them where you said that they were complicit in the murder, and she's like, no, I said that they were complicit in a cover-up. And then Piers is like, well, how can somebody be complicit in a cover-up? That means that they know that there was a murder and that they had, foreknowledge of the murder. Like, you that means you're involved. And she's like, no. So this is the perfect example of using semantics as an escape hatch.
Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen. I didn't say that they murdered Charlie.
You said that people at Turning Point were complicit in his murder.
No, my exact sentence that I said was that there were people at Turning Point who are engaged in a cover-up.
No, you didn't.
I believe that thoroughly.
Candace, you didn't say that. You said literally.
I did say that on my entire show.
You said there were people at Turning Point complicit in his murder.
Okay.
That's what you said.
Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen.
You say complicit in the murder.
Well, she doesn't say in the murder. Having this happen. What happened? Charlie getting shot. So yes, she doesn't directly say it, but that is, that's not even alluding to. That is just, talking about the assassination, saying that they're complicit in having this or enabling this to happen. That is making the claim. She didn't use the word murder. She didn't, you can't direct quote what Piers is saying, but it is what she is saying.
Because I said, who at Turning Point was involved in his murder? And
let me clarify for you. Okay, you can keep saying what I said, or you can listen to what I am saying.
Okay.
When I was using the analogy of JFK and we were connecting it, I was basically pushing.
She also believes that JFK was, the assassination was orchestrated by Israel.
Back on you because you were suggesting that, all of these people being involved would be crazy. So I was applying the analogy of what happened to JFK. Well, you actually, if you go back and listen.
I said, I don't know JFK's assassination. And we recently had a lot of the files released, which did not conclusively prove any of these things, right? Now, again, I don't know what happened to JFK.
No,
make it clear.
Piers, I really think you're not holding on to your thoughts
Candace,
here correctly.
let me spell out my thought very clearly.
Had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen. My entire
You said there were people at Turning Point complicit in his murder.
Okay.
That's what you said.
I really think you're not holding on to your thoughts
Candace,
here correctly.
let me spell out my thought very clearly.
Right there. Right there. Yeah, that is, that's where I'm going to leave it. I won't make these as long. I just saw that I just crossed an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to try to create shorter content. But yeah, this is retarded, and I'll check back in 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks if nothing big happens. And I'm just going to keep doing this because I love watching this Rolodex where, she's no longer talking about the Egyptian planes. She's no longer talking about the paid hitman that the Macrons hired to kill her. She's not talking about her sources at the FBI or the Homeland Security that believed her allegations against the Macrons were credible and that they're quote unquote taking actions and investigating as we speak. The Tim Pool thing, it probably won't flare back up. So she pivoted. She was attacking Ben Shapiro. She hasn't taken a shot at him in a little bit because she's been completely engulfed in the Fort Huachuca, Mitch Snow conspiracy, and having her followers basically back off, her prominent supporters. So yeah, it's typical. We'll see where she's at in like another 3 weeks. I'm sure it'll be just as mind-numbingly dumb and frustrating. So yeah, thanks for checking in. Leave a like if you liked it, if anybody watches this, and I'll catch you later.